Cross-border payments. This is one of those industries that almost everyone is aware of in crypto because it's one of the biggest areas that is ripe for disruption, that needs to upgrade because it is running on antiquated rails. It is extremely inefficient as well to send and receive cross-border payments. And it's also a very big discussion piece when it comes to Ripple and XRP because it's one of the original real-world use cases that was always pushed by Ripple, essentially, for use of XRP. Now, in this video, we are going to be talking about this a little bit more heavily, but also talking about the BIS as they just announced something very big that does pertain to this white paper that Ripple is now pushing. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Now, let's take a look at this because this is regarding global payment solutions for local banks utilizing blockchain, utilizing crypto, and it's more so focused on SMEs. Now, SMEs have always really kind of got left out. I mean, for them to actually get financing, it's hard. Also, even in trade finance as well, SMEs kind of get tossed to the side. So as we do look at this, this is a very big, ripe for disruption area, and Ripple is aware of this. Now, also, if we go over here and look into this, we have small, medium-sized enterprises are increasingly looking to global markets to fuel their growth. According to MasterCard's 2023 Borderless Payments Report, 50% are now conducting more international business than they did in 2021, contributing to over 17 trillion in annual cross-border payments. Despite this momentum, growth remains capped due to the constraints of slow, cumbersome, and expensive global payment processing and outdated financial services. A more streamlined modern payment stack that affords greater payments options could be the solution, benefiting SMEs and the international supply chains that have increasingly come to rely on them. Now, for the rest of this, I am going to summarize this with ChatGPT. The number one thing that we want to take from this is the fact that B2B payments market itself is now expected to reach 174.2 trillion by 2030. This is crazy. Now, if we go over here, we have small, medium-sized enterprises are increasingly engaging in international business, with 50% now conducting more cross-border transactions compared to 2021, contributing to over 17 trillion in annual payments. However, outdated and slow global payment systems are hindering their growth. The Ripple support suggests that local banks could seize a significant market opportunity by offering modern blockchain-powered payment solutions that are faster, cheaper, and more transparent. By adopting these solutions, the local banks could better serve SMEs, facilitating their global expansion and driving their own growth in the process. Now, if we go into the full-on report, we could see down here, we get a little bit of a summary. Number one, small and medium-sized enterprises are increasingly making cross-border payments as they expand customer, supplier, and vendor relationships, but pain points persist, including delays, processing costs, and poor visibility. Smaller financial institutions can outmaneuver larger incumbents and tap this underserved customer segment as a pathway for growth. What's crazy about this is think about how big this is for those smaller institutions. They're going to start to counter those larger ones and become competitive to them in a very large way, which means those larger institutions as well, they're going to look at what they're using. They're going to say, well, we need to tap into this as well. So this is basically going to be the big push that brings all of the institutions into the blockchain revolution. But we also have modern cross-border payment solutions can lead to more efficient, interoperable payment and settlement systems. As regulation progresses and the availability of technology improves, forward-thinking banks can deploy these in simple, measured, and compliant ways. AKA, guess what? The last obstacle in the road is regulations. That's it. That's what gives us the green light on a lot of these major moves, especially even XRP. XRP, once we get the green light around regulations, XRP has the most to benefit, in my opinion. Now, if we look at this, we have small, medium-sized enterprises are increasingly global or going global and dealing with complications related to cross-border payments. Now, they do mention the 50%. They also mention the $17 trillion payments. I don't think that I need to go in depth on this. There's a lot of issues here around SMEs. They're dealing with a lot of these problems that just are plaguing the cross-border payments market because of those antiquated rails and the outdated tech. But they also do mention, COVID-19 and these major problems happening right now around like supply chain disruptions, rising interest rates, inflation, geopolitical events, and things like that. It's definitely a big problem for these payment flows. But if we go down here, we have 4 problems derailing global B2B payments as well. We have many businesses simply accept the stagnant state of payments as the status quo, but the problems hindering their payment stacks are compounding. $12 failed payments cost. $12 on average. Long wait times for funds to settle, high costs and hidden fees, poor transparency, and burdensome operational overhead. These are the 4 main problems. We also have the long wait times to, for funds to settle. The failed payments cost about $12 on average and erode profitability in a climate where every dollar matters. 3 to 5 days, settlement times, high costs and hidden fees as well. Like, these are all of the problems that are plaguing these markets. And they do mention the FX market as well. The FX market is definitely one to focus on as well. $7.5 trillion per day, massive market. We also have 30% navigating cross-border payment complexity, including ensuring compliance with global regulations and managing multiple currencies hurts nearly 30% of SMEs. So there is a lot of big problems here. But guess what is the solution? It's blockchain-based payments. That's right. Making sure that these banks are integrating blockchain-based processes into their internal systems in a very easy way. Something that's not going to cause IT problems where they have to hire an IT team to come in. No, plug and play technology is the big deal. Now we also have here SMEs want to do business with smaller banks. While SMEs want payment services from local banks, access to convenient options is concerningly rare. 2/3 of small businesses preferred small and regional institutions. SME clients say they would greatly value a compelling, centralized service that combines banking and payments while integrating with leading payment infrastructure. 5 ways for banks to better serve small business clients from McKinsey & Co. And listen, as we really look at those bigger institutions, they don't care about the SMEs. They don't care about these businesses. They want money. They want to make money. All they care about is how much money you're going to bring in, how much they can make off of you, and that's it. They don't care about your... they don't care about any of the problems that you're having. They don't care about what you're doing. They just want to make money. So yes, it's no big surprise that they want to work with these, smaller banks or these, local banks. But also, if we come down here, we get a glimpse at the solution. So SMEs want real-time, low-cost, border-agnostic payments. Small banks can boost their bottom line by deploying a modern solution that cultivates partnerships to meet this need. A digital-first, high-touch approach to cross-border payments that delivers better prices and user experiences may help banks decode the overlooked SME segment. 30%, the number of correspondent banking relationships has declined nearly 30% over the last decade. 42% of US-based SMEs cited lack of clarity as a concern, especially in regards to cash management. Suppliers wait 7 days more than average to receive payments from payers who rely on correspondent bank networks to transmit funds. And this is actually from Visa, which is crazy. But yeah, listen, this is why we talk about cross-border payments so heavily. This is why we talk about blockchain and XRP and things like that in cross-border payments. It's because it's a very, very rough spot. In fact, it's such a massive market. Listen, now, as we really kind of look at B2B payments themselves, that's just one area of it. 174 trillion by 2030. Okay? SMEs are in dire need of streamlined cross-border payments. This in turn creates a compelling revenue opportunity for US regional and community banks. Now listen, as we think about this, okay, I want everyone to take a step back, because you might be questioning, all right, well, why would anyone want to utilize Ripple and Ripple payments? If we're talking about these big banks, they want to make money. All they care about is making money. Why would they want to utilize something like Ripple payments and all of a sudden they're missing out on a lot of money that they could be making? Well, they have no choice. Okay, this isn't like I'm JP Morgan in this situation and I'm like, all right, yeah, there's Ripple payments, but why would we want to utilize them when we could just make all this money? Well, guess what happens? These smaller banks can benefit greatly because now they have a competitive advantage over the market. These smaller banks are not making nearly as much money as JP Morgan or Bank of America or Citi. But now if they start offering a better experience for clients that are so used to this status quo of terrible cross-border payments, all of a sudden, they get a completely different experience. Now the smaller banks are eating the larger banks' lunch. All of a sudden, dominance is also being usurped. The big banks are going to start questioning, like, what the hell is happening? They have to innovate or they will die. That is a quote that has floated around for so long. And now it's not just Ripple pushing cross-border payments. Cross-border payments for the longest time, Ripple put a spotlight on, but now it's a big spotlight by all of these major organizations. Like, for example, the BIS. What are the risk-facing banks that transact on permissionless blockchains or similar DLT technology, and what can be done to mitigate them? Now we're starting to see the BIS pushing and putting a spotlight on DLT. This is crazy to me. But also, just a couple days ago, Augustin Carstens, the managing director of the BIS, a lot of people call him the CEO, but he's the managing director, spoke about cross-border payments unlocking new frontiers at the RBI Global Conference on Digital Public Infrastructure and Emerging Technologies. If we actually look at this, big shout out to XRP Drops for this. We have the general manager of the Bank for International Settlements, Augustin Carstens, on realizing the vision of how the financial system should work in the future. To realize that vision, we need to deploy tokenized assets, unified ledgers, fast payment systems. Here you guys have it. Deploy novel technologies, including tokenized assets, unified ledgers, and fast payment systems in an integrated way. But you know what's crazier about all of this? If we go over here to the actual speech, we have something that I personally believe that they let it slip in this breakdown. So number one, they give us a breakdown of the core, the central bank money. They talk about CBDCs and things like that. But down here, we have the UPI being talked about, Unified Payments Interface, in India. The rapid deployment of infrastructure such as hodl and the Unified Payments Interface has delivered substantial advances in financial inclusion and payments efficiency. It has shown how public authorities, by thinking big, acting fast, and embracing cutting-edge technology, can deliver transformative change and unlock the full creative potential of the private sector for the benefit of all. This last element, the involvement of the private sector, deserves special emphasis. It is the key to today's two-tier monetary system, and it will remain crucial as the monetary and financial system continues to evolve into the future, both in India and globally. There you have it. They literally told you that the private sector with the public sector is crucial for this last element, and it is the key to today's two-tier monetary system. But what does that mean? Well, it means that the public sector, the government, all those, big players, needs to work with the private sector. You could look at Ripple as the private sector, for an example, in this case. And as we look at the technology here advancing, as we look at the cutting edge technology that they want to tap into, it's blockchain, it's DLT, it's what these private companies like Ripple have to offer. And it's all crucial as well for this entire new landscape around the financial technology. It's also why I put a spotlight on the fact that the BIS is already working with Ripple on the CPMI group around cross-border payments. Like, you literally can't make this up. It's so crucial to focus on this. The BIS is going to be the ones that are really kind of starting to pull the strings around this new financial system. Cross-border payments are a big concern for the BIS as well as the G20. We've been addressing that for a while. Cross-border payments typically lag domestic ones in terms of cost, speed, and access and transparency. To an extent, this is to be expected as the transactions are necessarily more complex, often involving multiple participants, time zones, jurisdictions, and regulations. But that's the thing, right? Like, this should not be a thing. Like, no matter where we're making transactions to and from, it should easily be digital. It should be faster. The cost should not be as high. We could have that right now by utilizing blockchain-based processes. Now, what's even crazier about this is we have the CPMI group being mentioned here. The BIS, through its Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures and Innovation Hub, has played an active role in delivering on this roadmap. This is from the G20. They launched its roadmap for enhancing cross-border payments in 2020. So the CPMI group that Ripple is a part of with the BIS are now delivering on the roadmap for enhancing cross-border payments. This is very important to focus on, especially at a time where we're now starting to see Ripple really pushing heavy on cross-border payments. I do think that we are now starting to witness some very large changes happening, but also heavy discussions happening around cross-border payments. We're not at the point where this is going to roll out overnight or anything like that, but I do think that we are starting to witness major change, not only on, the side of the governments and things like that, but also the private sector. The private sector is here. They're working with these big names. I also think that that's why the CPMI group, with Ripple being added to it it's a summer ago now. It's last year. I still think that that is a very big announcement even today. A lot of people are going to start to say like, oh, it's old news. It doesn't matter. It does, because that is a group that the BIS is working with to advance and actually deliver on what the G20 is demanding around cross-border payments. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.